Hello everybody and welcome to Maximus. This video is the filming of my first ever beginner's guide, which goes over 3 tips for new players as to what you should do when you first start playing Hades. And with these tips, I managed to get to the first boss in a little less than 30 minutes, defeat them in a little over 40, and then get all the way into the end of Elysium before dying to a mini-boss. So I always practice what I preach in my videos, and if you saw that video and came over here, I want to show you that, hey, this actually works. So I'm just showing, hey, you know, I'm starting at level 1, level 1 being 10 darkness, and I think I'm going to put a point in Chthonic Vitality here, just to give me a little bit more survivability as I start. This is a brand new save. I have not played through it all and earned any darkness or earned any keys.
Looking good.
So this is a true fresh start to show you guys, hey, if you follow my 3 tips of focus on collecting darkness first, then you want to focus on collecting keys, and third, you want to focus on unlocking weapons. And finally, upgrade all your base abilities as well. Should actually be first get darkness, second unlock weapons, and third upgrade your base abilities. That is actually good enough to get you to almost the end of the game in around an hour from starting your new run. So I'm going to be following those rules here and just picking the rooms that have darkness in them. I'm going to be focusing on unlocking weapons as opposed to new powers because I want to get access to Dark Thirst as quickly as possible. And yeah, we'll see how quickly I can do this. So Supergiant is probably my favorite game developer out there right now. They've been in my top list ever since Bastion came out, and I've played every single one of their games, and they just consistently deliver excellent experiences, both in terms of the visual theme, in terms of the music, of course, and then their very distinctive style of having some form of omniscient narrator who knows what's happening in the story and sort of tells you what's happening and allows you to have sort of some more interactability with them. So first, I'm going to take Divine Flourish. I really like it on the sword just because it's got a long animation time, and I find it easier to time deflects with that, as well as I usually like to try and get my special attack doing more damage first with the sword because it has a nice AoE to deal with. So yeah, so far Hades, I mean it's not even fully released yet, it's still in early access. So far Hades more than lives up to the standards set by the other Supergiant Games. If you like Bastion, if you like Transistor, if you liked Pyre, you will like this game. I know roguelikes maybe aren't for everybody, but they've
made it this far.
Shaped the mechanics in a way that it is really fun to, well, die, honestly. It's not a big deal if you die, because that's actually how you progress the story. And, of course, you have to die in order to return to the area where you interact with most characters, and you unlock their abilities, you have conversations, and you have the story delivered to you. So this is sort of just basic combat. You can see I'm trying to push enemies against the walls with the sword, because that lets you do some bonus damage. I typically like to focus on the faster attackers, so the ranged units are what I'm going to be hitting a lot. Yeah, and I do my best. I've learned the attack timing on the louts here, for example, pretty well, so that I can dodge past them without getting hit most of the time. If you're just starting out, you should know that you can actually attack them if their health is red and you'll stun them. If they are in their charge up animation, I believe that will not knock them out of it. So you gotta just dodge around them. They'll go down pretty quick if you start focusing them. And yeah, oh, so right there, I am actually interrupting his charge up, so yes, you can interrupt their lead-up animation to really just sort of take advantage of the fact that they're big and they're slow and they attack in a straight line.
Oh, it's her. It must be a mess. Let's... Why, hello there, little
Hi,
boy.
Aphrodite. Let's see. So I think I'm probably take the dash here. Yeah, so typically when I play, I like to level up the basic abilities first.
Sure, I don't see why
The buffs are excellent, but a lot of them, I think one of the options there was whenever you get hit, an ability happens. And at this stage of the game, where I still don't have my basic abilities filled out, I'd rather take abilities I can make use of without getting hit and focus on that. So yeah, usually I try and fill up my basic slots first. Later on that includes your call ability, but for now it's just the basic attack, basic special attack, your cast, and your dash. And you'll see, yeah, I take some dumb hits from these skulls here. They attack pretty quickly, and I wasn't really paying attention there. So there we go. My first little boost of darkness here. I'm gonna, pardon me. I'm gonna take the Athena door here because whenever I see a skull, that's an elite room, and I know that I want to go there. You will get better boons, potentially better boons in elite rooms. I think that ups the rarity of them, which makes so they do more damage or have stronger effects overall. And compared to I think the power palm was the other option in that room. It's just a far better investment to go after the boons. Power palms are sort of a secondary upgrade. And I would take a god boon over them pretty much any time. So there we go. You can see again, I'm picking the basic, just the attack ability, because it gives you a boost to your actual damage as well as the god's special ability. In this case, now I've got a whole ton of deflect. It's not going to help me too much on the basic sword attack. It'll save me a few times, but I don't actually like it that much on the sword. There we go. Okay. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers. I can replace it later if I get the opportunity to. So, those of you who are new players tuning in, you'll notice that these guys have yellow health, which is armor, and that if I strike them, their attack animation actually isn't interrupted until the armor goes away. See right there, he kept on attacking even though I was whacking him. That is a really big problem later on in the game when there's a lot of quicker enemies with armor, and they'll just deal a whole ton of damage to you while you're standing there trying to kill them. So it's something to be aware of. It tripped me up a lot when I first started, where I wouldn't know, oh, I can't stun this guy, and then stand there and get smashed in the face as I, was waiting for my attack to come off cooldown. So yeah, again, just playing through the game. There we go. So first death at about 8 minutes. It is still a difficult game. I'm not going to say I'm a master at it or anything, but this is how you play. You gotta go through it. You gotta get some of the permanent resources, come back, and make yourself stronger. So I'm not talking to anybody in this recording because I'm really I gave myself the goal of trying to beat the first boss in 30 minutes or so.
How am I looking?
So I was really just kind of sprinting through this, trying to get it done. And you can see again, I prioritize Chthonic Vitality. I described it a little bit in my how-to video that I really like that ability because it is essentially an increase to your max health. And here I unlock the bow as well. Again, following the tips that I want to unlock the weapons before I start unlocking new abilities. I also really like the bow. I think it's got a lot of flexibility to it, because the special attack is essentially a shotgun blast, which can stack god abilities, which is very nice. Obviously Zeus is here, he's a boss. I take his cast just because it's rare. There I forget that I have the bow, not the sword, so I'm kind of just standing there and doing a funny little dance as I move towards him. That's some good moves by me. And we get lucky and we get darkness right off the bat. So yeah, if you haven't used the bow before, you want to try and charge it up until you see the flash. The timing's pretty forgiving, so you can get a handle on it. And then you'll do a whole lot more damage than if you just do a regular charge attack. You can see there, I'm just trying to get a handle on the charge again myself, just because it's been a little while. I choose to go for Charon's Gold here, Centaur hearts, in my opinion, are among the worst room rewards you can get. I will usually take Charon's Oval, just the money, over top of them because it's more flexible, and you can potentially buy boons with it. You can buy healing with it, which is hard to come by in this game. But Centaur hearts, I don't think that highly of 25 an increase of 25 to your max health. I just don't think it's very worth it. So there I have the option to go for a bottle of nectar. Again, going for the darkness. Nectar in the early game is really not that important, because, or at least when you have the choice to unlock a room reward, a permanent resource room reward, and it's a choice like that where it's nectar versus darkness, you should take the darkness, because there's going to be a lot of rooms where you don't have the option for going somewhere else. So you'll actually get forced into taking things like, well, everything. You'll get forced into taking everything, but you'll get forced into taking keys, you'll get forced into taking the nectars, and the centaur hearts. So I typically don't prioritize them, unless in very, very specific situations, because I know I'm going to get them later. Here we go, we got some nice Boon from Dionysus here. So that 2 health every chamber actually adds up really quick, and then once you level it up a third time, you get to 3 health. It's, again, really helpful, really valuable, because I think every level is at least, I think it's 10 chambers. I'm not 100% sure on that. I haven't looked it up or kept track of that. But it basically is, 30 health or so that you can recover. And when you're in the start of the game like this, where you only have 50 health, that's a health, that's healing of over 50% just for playing the game, basically. So here, I think I'm gonna go for Drunken Flourish. I don't think, oh, I do take the strike, okay.
Leave it to the god of wine to liven things up around here.
That actually makes more sense. Yeah, I definitely should have taken the strike there. The way that, there's a couple curses in this game, which are the status effects that you inflict on enemies that stack the more times that you apply them. See, no, I actually made a mistake there. I should have taken it on the Y. Again, I was thinking I had the sword, because with the Y attack, if you're up close to somebody and you hit them with it, you will actually apply multiple stacks of hangover, which means you'll get a whole bunch of dots applied to the enemy in one quick go.
The chthonic key.
So that was my mistake. I should have done that there. But, taking it on the attack, it's not like it's a bad option. It still makes so that enemies pierced with your attack, they all get hit by the hangover ability. And you can see here, I'm having some trouble with the skulls. The skulls are kind of difficult for the bow to deal with, at least without any upgrades to the special attack. That's really what the special attack is meant for, is stuff like the skulls. Just because it's quick and it helps you deal with stuff that gets up close or that's hard to aim at. So Palm of Power, not that important, but if you get it, you get it, sort of thing. I didn't have the option to pick anything else there. Which again is what I mean by don't really prioritize stuff that you're not looking for. Which sounds silly to say, but hey, I don't want a Palm of Power, so going and getting Charon's Oval is a better choice. Or I don't want Charon's Oval, getting Darkness is a better choice. Or I don't need gemstones yet, so I'm gonna go get this key, kind of thing. You'll get forced to take those things anyway, so you'll slowly, passively get them in any regard. So here I make a mistake. You see Ocean's Bounty there? That is an increase to Darkness, gemstones, and money that you collect through your run as long as you have it equipped. And it's an increase of 50%, and I didn't see it there, otherwise I should have taken it, because obviously this is a farming run, and that would be really, really helpful. So instead I decide that I need to upgrade my special, and that's what I do. So you'll notice a difference with how I'm fighting these guys with the bow versus with the sword. These guys are actually pretty easy when you fight them with a bow. I entered this chamber with 9 health, I still have 9 health, and they haven't been able to hit me this entire time. Whereas with the sword, in our last run, you saw me get hit quite a lot by them.
Anyone else?
And if I fight them again, you'll probably see it again. So I think here, I choose Storm Lightning. if I'm right. So I didn't want to replace my base attack, especially since it's not as rare as the other two abilities that were offered. And I was like, okay, I'll take the passive buff this time. So when you see this happen in a room, your main goal is just to avoid, because he's going to continuously spawn enemies until the timer runs out. And in some cases, I think in this case actually, you can kill most of the enemies and sort of keep it manageable. But in a lot of cases, you actually have to just dodge. You can't kill everything. If I had the sword here where I had to go in and engage these guys, I would not be able to deal with them. I would have to dodge around and try to avoid. Because a lot of them are starting with armor, so if I run in there and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just whack you in the face a few times, they're not gonna care and they're still gonna be able to hit me. And by doing this sort of hit and run style of play, you can see I entered with 11 health, and I'm leaving with 11 health. And I get a nice little boost of darkness there. And there we go, we get a key, because we don't have the option. Yeah. The other thing that you should take advantage of as a new player, especially as we begin, is you see this room. This is 5, I think they're called thugs, something like that. 5 thugs in a room. They all start with armor. It's a pretty brutal room to just walk into. We're only 3 or 4 rooms in at this point. But the reason why they've put so many powerful enemies in here is because they're trying to teach you that you can set enemies up on traps and do damage to them, which is what I've tried to do a few times here. Every time I dash over that, I'm trying to trigger the trap and have it hit them. I think I go for Kairon here again, yeah. Oh, do I take... Okay, I go for the heart, I guess, just to try and extend my run a little bit. So yeah, that's what they're trying to teach you there, is that, hey, if you stand on a trap and trigger it, it will do damage to the enemies. I don't think you'll see a room like that more than once. It's very much Supergiant being excellent game developers and teaching you in-game how the combat system works. And there we go, Lout killed me again. So, they are probably the harder enemy that you're going to fight in Tartarus, at least for the first little while. They've added some new enemies that make things more challenging. But for your first couple runs, you're not going to see much harder than a Lout. Again, we're going straight to the mirror just to do upgrades. Yeah, Louts get all my attention because they can just hit you across the whole board, essentially. And here, I get my first point of Death Defiance. Death Defiance is one of the greatest abilities in the game. I prefer the default one, especially since we're just showing the defaults here. Basically, it's a 50% increase to your health one time, which is really the only time you need that kind of increase to your health.
Prestigious blade of the underworld.
Yeah.
I need your strength.
I highly recommend it. For the purposes of my guide, I only recommend putting in 1 point at this point. I think I take Hoarding Slash here because I haven't seen it before and I want to try it out. 1 point in Death Defiance just because it's very expensive to farm. And this is really just trying to cover your first couple runs, how to get you as strong as possible, as quick as possible. And it doesn't cover any of the future abilities you unlock, which after you've unlocked all the weapons, you should absolutely start unlocking more abilities. So you're probably not going to unlock the second and definitely not the third level of Death Defiance before you get some more abilities to put points into. So yeah, I love Supergiant Games and I love roguelikes. I saw earlier this year actually that this game was coming out and watched some gameplay of it for about 5 minutes and was like, yep, that's what I want. That right there. It's my favorite type of game, roguelikes, made by my favorite dev, and they literally just combined all the best elements of their previous 3 games. The combat feels kind of like Transistor. It's not as strategic, tactical, I should say, where you pause time, you set up all your moves, and you have a lot of control over the build that you walk into combat with. And it's got the narration and, of course, music and art style that Supergiant is known for from Bastion. And you'll see I just got what I'll call a free bottle of nectar there, because, again, I was forced to go into that room. So yeah, sure, I'll take a free bottle of nectar, not a big deal. and we can turn that into a keepsake. I think I turned it into Cerberus's keepsake,
This one was bound to show up, I guess.
which you should absolutely do as a new player. Is my recommendation is to give Cerberus the nectar at first and get his keepsake, because it's going to give you a 25 increase to your health when it's equipped, which when you're first starting out is really helpful to make you make sure you get through the maps and you get to the final boss.
For last time.
And in comparison to, say,
This could unlock a weapon rack at home.
Hypnos, which gives you some starting money, or Nixes, which gives you some damage increase, I think that Cerberus is going to benefit new players who haven't mastered the mechanics and enemy timings the most benefit when they first start out. So, you know, in early Centaur Heart, I don't usually, so I had a choice between Charon and Poseidon there. I don't usually go to the store unless I have over 300 Charon, 300 coin if I can help it, because if I'm going there, it means that I'm not getting a buff from, I'm not getting a free buff as a room reward. So I try and make it so that I've got about 300, 350, because then I can get, he'll usually have a boon. You might have 2 boons, in which case you need 300 because they're 150 each at least. But he could also have a power palm, he could also have healing, and if you can only afford one thing, see there, I grab Ocean's Bounty because I was an idiot before and go, yeah, I gotta do this obviously. So yeah, going to Charon's shop and only being able to afford one thing and being like three oval off from, you know, a power palm or some healing that, you know, would save your life or extend your run really sucks. And I would rather get money and a free room reward than go into his shop and just buy one thing most of the time. That's sort of my guiding principle as I play through the basic, well, let's call it the basic game, where it's just the simple levels. The first world's really easy, as you'll find out as you proceed and you get further.
Here we go again.
It's really where you want to lay down a good foundation for your later run, because the enemies aren't very quick. There's not that many types that you're going to normally fight, and there's not many range types either. So it's usually where you want to do the majority of your... you want to make sure you get as much value out of it as possible in terms of making your run as strong as possible. So again, here I'm suffering from just being unable to do damage to multiple targets at once, not having a good ranged option. The cast at this point is okay. I don't have any improvements to it, but it does still do a decent amount of damage. But you'll see there's Death Defiance saving my butt. But it doesn't really pull its weight in a situation like this, and you know, I should have just been avoiding. When I got into the fight there, I forgot that it was a timed room, and really I would have been better served just by dodging around, not letting them take my health, not letting them take down my Death Defiance. But oh well, live and learn. I'm playing pretty aggressively. I'm just trying to get through this as quickly as possible. Again, because I set myself the goal of reaching the final, not the final boss, definitely not the final boss, the first boss, in less than half an hour. And I was really eager to try and make the how-to guide that has hopefully led you to this video. Yeah, so as we go on here, I might start talking about the later abilities you get. For example, I think that after you unlock the next batch of abilities, you have the option... Actually, no, it is in the starter abilities. One of the starter abilities gives you an additional dash, which, for me, I definitely prefer whenever I'm using a melee weapon with the sword, because you'll see I'm using my dash to get into position quite a lot. I'm trying not to walk too much in the level, essentially. Having that second dash so you can either travel farther or dash then dodge an attack is really helpful. speed in this game is a really big deal, and it's going to impact how often you get hit and how often you survive.
Can't give up
So you
yet.
see, I pick Charon here over Athena because I've got almost 400 obol, and there we go. I can heal, I can get a boon from Zeus, and I can get a power palm, all because I've got just a whole ton of money to spend. And I think I'm probably going to take Thunder Flourish? I don't remember. Yeah, Thunder Flourish, okay. So I remember now. I didn't take the palm there because I was planning for the future. I was thinking I was going to beat Megaera here and spend it on the next level because I knew I was going to need a big buff if I made it to level 2 already, or second level after 3 runs. So Megaera, she's got a couple of basic attacks. She's got dash, obviously, that we just saw. She's got that big AoE strike that she does. She'll do this bullet hell attack, throwing out waves of projectiles here in a second. And whenever she does that, she goes invulnerable and summons additional enemies to the map. It's not that big a deal because the map is so big they usually don't actually affect you all that much. So there's that bullet hell attack. And this is pretty easy. If you don't have a way to deflect or deal with those projectiles, just stand between the fans and you're fine. So she got me there. I wasn't strong enough at this point. But hey, you know, I made it to the first boss in about 24 minutes there before dying, which is pretty solid for starting from 0. And it means that I got a lot of resources in that last run as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I remember that I've got Nectar here. And I decide that I'm going to give it to Cerberus because I want more health to try and get further. I mean, Cerberus is just the best. Cerberus is the best. You got to give him the Nectar first because he's a good boy. He's such a good boy. So friendly, and later in the game you will understand he is the best boy and you need to be as loyal and friendly to him as possible. So yeah, I've also got 3 keys. I've got 42 darkness. I'm doing pretty good in terms of my farming. I'm just gonna, max out my vitality so I can get a little bit further in the game. And then I think I can unlock the shield here. Beautiful. I decide not to, but I could have. All I saw was, hey, I'm at 26 minutes or so since I started actually playing. I gotta get back to Meg and beat her. As well as, I saw that Dark Thirst was on Coronat and was like, okay, there it is, that's what I want. That's what I'm trying for.
They sure could use some company now that she mentions it.
So,
Power of the Hunt sounds handy too.
Sorry, just listening to Zagreus' lines there. Voice acting in this game is also just top-notch. There's a lot of characters, and really, this is what I like about Supergiant, is everything is extremely polished. Like, for being an early access game, everything is extremely polished. It's not like, character models look janky. They had some placeholder character models back when I started playing a few months ago, but they still looked good. Combat still flows well. The weapons are relatively well balanced. The enemies work properly. There's a good selection of enemies to play from. All the abilities work properly. So even in their early access games, they make sure that they're giving you excellent value. And I really can't say how much I appreciate them at this point, just because there's not that many games coming out that I get excited about anymore. BioWare used to be my go-to studio of just like, oh my god, I can't believe this, like, give me more Mass Effect. And then EA bought them and was like, okay, well, that's it for them. And Bethesda's been doing some good stuff with games like Doom. Doom Eternal's pretty good as well. But in terms of, like, single-player, narrative-driven content, where it's really a standalone experience, you don't need anyone else to play, this is definitely what I want. It's got the perfect balance of story, in my opinion. It's got the perfect balance of strategy in it, with trying to build yourself every run, as well as, hey, what resources do I need to make sure that I'm going to be able to get stronger? What am I prioritizing right now? As well as, again, music, voice acting, story, and the way that Supergiant delivers story and all the cues and the new mechanics is, in my opinion, genius. And they kind of perfected it back in Transistor, where in that game, you had to, in order to unlock all the story elements, specifically the character elements, you actually had to use your different abilities in different slots, which encouraged you to try different combinations of abilities which did entirely different things, and see what playstyle really fits you. And it was genius. I loved it. So many abilities I would never have used in like the passive slot, and then I'll try it out because I want to unlock, you know, the codex entry, and oh wow, no, this is awesome sort of thing. And that's again kind of what they've done here, where as you progress through the game, they start, for example, right now, with very basic enemy types, with very basic weapons. You know, it's a sword and it's a bow. It's pretty easy to understand, to let you get a handle on the basic mechanics. And then as you progress, okay, you can now unlock this ability. You can now unlock this weapon. We give you access to stronger boons that interact differently. Boons that combo between two different gods. You can start buying upgrades that make it so that whenever you collect darkness, you also get, I think it's, yeah, whenever you collect darkness, you get 5 max health. Whenever you collect keys, you get 20 obol, sort of thing.
That's what you get.
So they keep on layering on complexity, not complexity, depth. They keep on deepening their
Your wisdom.
mechanics as you play and as you get better and as you go forward, which I love, because I've been playing this game 20-something hours. I've beat the final boss 3 or 4 times at this point, and I'm still finding new stuff. There's still a ton of new stuff to find, which in a lot of roguelikes, it starts to dry up around the 20-hour mark, and that's really not what I've found so far playing through this game. And so this is one of the encounters that you unlock and will start to find, where, hey, you just go talk to a character and they give you a buff. So you get a nice little dose of story and you get a buff, and they appear randomly. So if you want, that can be something you farm. It's just character interactions. That's actually a farmable resource in this game, is, hey, have you had as many conversations with this character as you want? Have you given them nectar? Have you, later on, have you done their favors, which are essentially like personalized little quests for them? You know, maybe you actually just want the upgrade from them. Like I said, there's a lot of depth to the mechanics. No one's throwaway. Well, maybe Hypnos, but I'm sure he'll have something to do later on in the game. And yeah, just the style of the game. See here, I'm having a bit of a hard time just because there's a lot of ranged enemies. Those crystals kind of suck to deal with the bow, but I just have to survive, and it's good now.
Break it up.
There we are.
So I suggest you take the Daedalus Hammer whenever possible. The Daedalus Hammer, I think, is probably the strongest single boon, buff, whatever you want to call it, in the game. It has the most impact on your run, even more so than God boons, because it gives you not only a damage increase, or an increased speed or an increased range, but it actually improves your attack past the basic animations.
Numbskulls.
So right now, what I have is my special shots. They pierce enemies and they do bonus damage to armor, which you'll see means I have a lot less trouble with these skulls. Not only that, but I've remembered what their attack timing is, so I'm getting hit by them a little bit less. And so that stacks with your boons, and really informs the kind of boons that you want to take. So now that I've got, penetrating special shots that each of them apply Doom, Ares Curse, which does, a big burst of damage after a second. I probably am going to want to try and get buffs that are going to make Doom stronger.
Should help keep me going.
One cannot put a price on.
So yeah, here's another case where I went into Charon Shop with, a little under 300, and it means I gotta walk away from a power palm. But it's the final room before Megaera again. So here we are, we're fighting Meg again, and we're at minutes 35, been playing for about 33 minutes. And I think this time I actually do beat her. Let's see. Let's see. Since she's a largely melee character, you do have a bit of an advantage with the bow in comparison to the sword. But I like the sword more typically. You can also threaten her anywhere while she's doing this like fire plume attack, which is another reason why the bow just gives you a little bit of an edge. But later on in the game, there's a couple variations on this boss, including a very close ranged one where ranged weapons actually have less of a bonus. So, like I said, Supergiant, very skilled game developers making very tight systems make it so that your pre-existing strategies are no longer going to always work as you proceed through the games. So here I actually discover something interesting. What I didn't know is that the Y, the special attack from the bow, actually clears projectiles, which I just figured out right there. I knew that the sword cleared projectiles, but I hadn't really noticed the bow doing it before. And just like that, we're at minute 36, and I just beat the first boss. That, I think, is my fourth run from start, and that's pretty awesome. I'm pretty proud of that for just sort of turning it on and messing around kind of thing. I think I just choose to heal here, pretty sure. Oh, nothing. Oh, here we go, yeah, there we go. So, yeah, we're at minute 36 of the video, but if you count the time where I'm actually in the game and I'm playing, it's definitely under 35 minutes that I managed to beat her, which is honestly pretty frickin' awesome. And if you're just new to the game, maybe you haven't reached her yet, welcome to Asphodel. This is a much harder level than just regular old Tartarus. The levels are a lot more open. There's more ranged enemies in these kind of levels, including the bombers, which are the elite enemy on the first level. And if you stand in the lava, turns out that is painful, even for gods. So you have to actually monitor where you're standing as well. And you can see this damn bomb guy just did a whole ton of damage to me because I wasn't paying attention and I didn't realize that he had dropped 2 bombs at my feet. But I'm pretty sure I pulled it out here. I still have my Death Defiance up if I need it. And the nice thing with the bow is you can have a really good hit and run style just with the basic bow here. Okay, so we got no option here. We're gonna have to take a power bomb. Yeah, Asphodel's a little bit challenging just because there's the lava essentially acts as a trap, and it's very hard to avoid. You are gonna stand in lava at some point and take a couple points of damage, which is kind of annoying. If you keep enemies in it, it's okay. But then sometimes enemies like the witches, those enemies that throw the energy balls, that go stand in lava and you're holding a sword, and you gotta go chase them and you'll take some points of damage while you're trying to take them down, which kind of sucks. But overall, you know, not too bad. And so there again, we've got Death Defiance saving my butt there, getting me back up to half health. Just remembering that I've got my cast here from Artemis, which is going to do a ton of damage on crits, and it's worth my time trying to make it happen. So yeah, there's a couple different, basically corpses, skeletons, whatever you want to call them on this level. Some of them just have a basic melee attack, the red ones have that ranged attack. So here you can actually see a little bit of what the power palm does. It gives you about a 20%-ish increased damage. It seems like the first level you apply to a boon, which if you compare to a god boon, where it's a typically like 50, 90, 100% increase to the ability you equip it to, or it's, you know, a buff that makes your existing abilities way better, you can see the power palm's not usually worth it, and typically, for me, a much lower priority than hammers or god boons. And there we go, we got 12 darkness there because we are making use of Dark Thirst. And so at this point, I've got a decent amount of damage with the Ares ability on my Y special and with Artemis on my cast, so I decided to go for Athena. Athena does mostly defensive style boons, so whenever I'm low on health, I look for, whenever I'm having trouble staying alive, I should say, I look for Athena. Same with Aphrodite, though Aphrodite's got a lot more potential to do damage as well. They're both kind of really good options when you need to find some more survivability for yourself. Okay, and let's see if we make it out of this. I do not. But not bad. We made it to the first mini-boss in Asphodel in 40 minutes from starting the game, using these 3 tips that I advocate in my how-to video. And you see that since we've made it past Megaera, we've actually unlocked, I didn't walk into it, but we unlocked the lounge there, which gives you access to more characters to talk to. So here's Greater Reflex. I really like Greater Reflex. I almost was going to recommend taking Greater Reflex above Death Defiance, just because it is really useful having that second dash. But Death Defiance, I think, is better overall.
Lend me your power.
And so I had enough keys and I wanted the Dark Thirst, so I was able to unlock the shield there. So we're well on our way to getting enough keys. I think I've got 2 left. We're well on our way to unlocking all of our basic weapons at this point, which is our goal. So Hermes is an interesting god. He actually offers different buffs to everyone else in that he never consumes an ability slot. So he never, I took the, I think it was the Greater Reflex ability, which makes so that your basic attack is faster. No, sorry, your special attack is faster. But you can see my special attack slot is actually still unoccupied. So it's an excellent buff to your abilities without consuming anything, as well as he gives speed buffs, which are improvements to your sort of basic capabilities, which the regular gods don't. They don't offer additions to your basic abilities. They offer new abilities. So Hermes is very valuable in that he makes you attack faster, makes you run faster. He can give you some dodge chance, sort of thing. So in terms of gods to prioritize, Hermes, whenever I have the option to pick one of his boons, I do. So here again, following our principle of darkness is most important early on in the game. I don't need any gemstones. You know, we're not interested in the house contractor yet. We're just trying to get as strong as possible so we can start getting longer and longer runs and getting better and better farm material. And you can see I've put Zeus on my special attack, so now we've got a legitimately really dangerous weapon. Because the special attack on the shield, you throw the shield as you're seeing me do, and it bounces between enemies before returning to you. Well, now it also does lightning damage, and it flies a lot faster thanks to Hermes. So it is an awesome attack, and you're going to see it's actually going to carry me through most of this first level here, where I just start spamming the crap out of it. And just like that, boom, we're through.
Power of Olympus.
And now my special's even better, and there we go, we got a Daedalus Hammer. An early Daedalus Hammer is awesome. A good run usually starts with a Daedalus Hammer in the first level. Sometimes they don't show up in the first level, but it's always nice when they do. So here I notice, hey, my special deals 50 damage to foes around you when you catch it. So now my special flies faster, it does lightning damage, and when it comes back I explode, which is super awesome. The shield is actually one of the best weapons in the game, if not the best weapon. It is unbelievably flexible in that it has a really snappy ranged attack. It's got a really snappy close range attack, which is just a shield bash to the face. And then you can actually hold it down and block, which is phenomenal. You'll see me take advantage of that later. And then you can also charge with it out of your block. So it gives you a mobility as well, and a high damage, that right there, a high damage solution for dealing with tougher enemies. So the shield, honestly, if you want to practice like with the quote-unquote best basic weapon, it's probably the shield in terms of flexibility and bang for your buck. So here I decided to go for Charon because I didn't want a power palm. I'd already leveled up. I didn't want the other thing. I actually don't remember what it was. I think it was a power palm, which was a lot less useful to me. And I was sure I was going to get either food or, as you saw there, sometimes you can buy keys or darkness from Charon. So it's worth your time to go there, you know, if the other option isn't attractive.
You really think you can get out of here?
So here we go again, another one of these time trials where Hades is like, nah, screw you. I'm gonna just like send tons of guys at you and we're gonna just hash this out right here if you're not going any further. But thanks to my shield where I've got a whole bunch of stacked abilities on my special attack, I actually am able to just pretty much annihilate everything that shows up without much concern. So this is very different compared to the previous times this happened in the last couple of runs where, you know, I ended up dodging around a lot and not killing very much. This time, I mean, there's only 4 enemies on the screen and they're going down real quick. If this was a regular room, I haven't even been hit yet. If this was a regular room, I would clear it very easily. See, I stepped on a trap there. And a little bit of health, not that helpful. So this is an elite combat that actually rewards you with 2 boons. So I like these. I think, and I haven't confirmed this yet, that the first boon you take has a better chance of being higher rarity than the second boon you take. Don't quote me on that. I'm still experimenting with this particular room. But you'll see now, 1, I just blocked the left's attack there because the shield's awesome. And 2, Aphrodite is now sending her powers, this heart thing that's chasing me, after me because I spurned her. So whenever you do these duos, keep in mind that the enemies that spawn, they're going to get a god buff and they're going to be a lot tougher. And I think here I decided to get the dash because I haven't filled out my dash yet. Oh, or not. Instead, I take blasts of weak whenever foes are weak. So again, power palm, not desirable. I'm just gonna go see Charon. I know he's the last room before the boss as well, so I wanted the opportunity to heal maybe and see if there's anything else worth my time, which I decided to take the Centaur Heart. I was not very low on health anyway. And here we go. 3rd time seeing the boss, 47, about 45 minutes into playing from the start of the game kind of thing. And, you know, she was still something of a challenge last time. But now that we've got the shield and we've got this awesome special combo built up, you'll see I finished her off without too much issue here. And again, there's that sweet, just stand here and block this attack. Doesn't do any damage to you, nothing gets through the shield. You might as well just stand there and take it. Tank it, kind of thing. So if you're smart, you don't play too aggressive, you can pretty easily just stand here and be like, oh yeah, that's a cute attack. Just stand there for a few seconds and I'll wail on you later. And again, because the arena's so wide, the enemies she spawns really don't contribute much to this fight. The ranged ones, like you see the witches there, are occasionally throwing in an orb, but overall, not really doing very much. And again, just stand here and block her. What's she gonna do? Just like that, boom. We're at 48 minutes and 35 seconds. Second time we've beat the first boss. About 45 minutes of in-game time. So these rarer items that I'm collecting are also permanent resources, but they don't do anything until later in the game, and I plan on making a video explaining how to use them, how to collect them later on. For anybody who's just starting to play Hades, know that you want them. They are super good and super valuable. Titan Blood especially is like, I'm really thirsty for it in my further along save right now. So don't worry about it. You need to beat the final boss once before you can start spending those resources on anything. At this point, it's really just focusing on keys, darkness, and then after you kind of get the basics down, you want to start focusing more on gemstones and leveling up your keepsakes sort of thing. But yeah, for now, just the darkness, just the keys, and you'll see, hey, Asphodel, pretty easy with the shield because we've got that sweet dash. And again, I've got this really awesome combo on my special attack that's just doing a lot of work. You can see my base attack, it's okay, but really all my damage is coming from throwing around my shield. And here, between a Centaur Heart and Hermes, like take Hermes every single time. Centaur Heart, like I said, is probably the weakest upgrade you can get, in my opinion. And Hermes is just awesome. Some of the boons that he'll offer you are incredibly helpful and really just increase your damage significantly. I mean, the reason why I'm able to use my special as such a main source of damage is because it's got the speed increased by my Hermes buff. It's not just the fact that I've got a buff from Zeus on it and I've got a Daedalus Hammer on it. It's really Hermes adding that, 20, I think it was a 20% improvement to its travel speed that makes a huge difference in its effectiveness. So while his abilities aren't flashy necessarily, they are really effective. Really, really effective. I think I just take Swift Strike here because I like having my special come out faster. I like my basic tech coming out faster. No point going to the shop for 50 money. So you know what? I'm just gonna go earn some Charon. Some Obol. You don't want to earn Charon. You don't really want to earn the Boatman of the Dead. I'm pretty sure that's called dying. So yeah, my plan is to just make a whole beginner series in this game to try and help people understand what the mechanics are and how to maximize their time in the game early on, because by design it's not spelled out for you. It's something that you want to discover as you play the game, or at least that Supergiant wants you to discover as you play the game. But they never explain it in the game, how all of this, how boons interact with each other, how the rarity of boons changes, what should you be doing at what stage of the game. They really want you to figure that out. And I know that a lot of people get turned off of roguelikes and similar games because there's not really a clear path forward, or it feels like you're not making progress. So my goal is to really help show you, no, if you are focused and do take my advice and enjoy the game, you'll make pretty good progress pretty quickly. So yeah, I hope that you guys are going to stick with me through this and will find value out of these videos. I'm doing a lot of research for them. I'm really having a lot of fun making them because, I mean, it's an excuse to play Hades, which is going to be released later this year, which is fantastic. And yeah, I expect that it's going to be a lot of fun. And for those of you who tune into these sort of behind-the-scenes recording sessions, I love you guys, because you're just sitting there watching me. I mean, maybe you're at lunch or you're at home. Play an awesome game and practice what I preach, so you know that I'm not full of crap. I actually know what I'm talking about, and what I show you is very doable. I mean, I'm not an expert at this game by any stretch of the imagination. I'm only playing on like level 1 heat at this point. But you can see I'm able to get pretty far into this game pretty early on just by focusing on the correct resources and focusing on getting strong in the correct way. And that's really what I want to offer you guys as well. So again, you see there's an elite gem combat there, and then there's darkness. The elite gem combat will actually give you more gems than a regular gem room, but we don't care about gems yet. Gems are used to for cosmetic upgrades to your the House of Hades and your room and some other stuff. And they do have some buffs in there, mostly that affect the map you go through. For example, you'll start having healing rooms appear through the levels. Well rooms is what they're called, where it's a free room with a free boon and you have the opportunity to heal in it. But that is not going to help you out as much as actually just getting stronger. That's really just sort of a nice little buff that you're going to find as you go through the game. So here, I think my mindset was, I think that the boss is up next after this room, which it is. You can see from the Hydra heads there. And I decided to go for Charon because I know he'll have a boon for me to take, and probably the option to heal. So here, I think I take Deathless Stand because... Oh, no, I'll just take a 10% damage reduction. If I was more serious about this run, at this point I've already proven my point, and I'm just seeing how far I can get. If I was more serious, I probably would have taken the Death Defiance one, just because it's really important to keep your Death Defiance up. But a flat 10% reduction to all incoming damage is definitely very welcome as well. Like I said, Athena is really the god you want to seek out if you need some more survivability, because you don't need to stack her abilities to get a lot of value out of them. For example, a god like Zeus, he is very, very focused on dealing damage, but his abilities, they all stack on top of each other. So you get his basic attack that fires chain lightning every time you land a basic attack, and then you get a buff from him that makes so your chain lightning bounces more, for example. So it's not really worth it to just grab one Zeus buff. I mean, it can be, but it's not optimal. It's not maximizing the value you extract from every room, kind of thing. Whereas Athena, all of her buffs are, hey, take 75% damage, 75% less damage from traps, take 10% less damage overall. Improve your call. You know, get a deflect ability on your basic abilities. So they all stand on their own very well. So for example, I'm using the dash deflect here, which in my opinion is the best dash in the game, because I mean, it's just a very long deflect window, and you're gonna be spending most of your time either attacking or dashing. And dashing is when you want to be dealing with enemy attacks anyway. And I don't really need any other buffs from Athena at this point to be effective. Yeah, so you can see I'm really not having too much trouble with this Hydra. Just take him down pretty easy. I'm still relying pretty heavily on my special combo. You'll see I'm throwing it out, running up, smashing, throwing it again, smashing, throwing it again, just really trying to keep it out of my hands as much as possible, because it's got the most buffs on it, so it's going to do the most damage.
You're going nowhere, boy.
Again, Zeus does more damage than Aphrodite, who's what I have on the basic attack, but Aphrodite improves my survivability by reducing the amount of damage enemies do. With her curse, which is weak. And I believe it's a 35% decrease to enemy damage. So altogether, with Aphrodite and Athena right now, I've actually got a 45% decrease to enemy damage. And that helps me get all the way to Elysium, the final level. Now this is where the game gets serious. The enemies here are very challenging. See that eyeball I just killed right there? If you're new to the game and you haven't made it here yet, you need to kill that eyeball because, well, I mean, it's a soul, technically, because if it touches a weapon for long enough, it'll actually respawn the enemy, and you'll have to kill them from full health again. And that full health, that includes armor. That's right, these enemies, they can be armored, which is a real pain in the butt, because their attacks hurt a lot, and they're very quick, so it's hard to punch through that armor before you take damage. So I don't want to replace my special here, just because the thunder is better on the shield than the lightning. And I'm an idiot, and you see I completely left the nectar behind. Completely left the nectar behind. I specifically took that ability because I wanted the bonus health from it, because I wanted that little bit of healing right away, and then forgot to actually pick up the item. I didn't know you could actually leave buffs on the ground and move on to the next room. I thought that you had to pick them up before you could proceed. But, you know, learn something new. I actually learned a lot in this recording, which is another reason why I'm enjoying making these videos so much, is I'm learning a lot. you know, I have to fact check myself and make sure that what I'm saying is correct. So I'm spending a lot of time researching everything. I'm spending a lot of time talking to people in the Discord and seeing what works for them. Which, by the way, if you want to talk to some more experienced players about tips and tricks, Supergiant has a Hades Discord that is open invite. You can join and jump into the chat and send out some questions. Maybe that's where you found my videos from, actually, because I try and answer questions I see in the Discord and then send these videos to people to try and, you know, help them out, answer their questions. So here, this is actually pretty hard. Athena is buffing them because I chose Zeus over her. And you can see that's actually making these guys have an deflect. It makes them impervious, but it's the deflect animation. And they're kicking my butt. They've done a lot of damage to me here. And like I said, when they're armored like that, they are a pain to deal with. Not only that, but these blue guys, these weird totems that are floating around, suck because they actually put invulnerability shields around the enemies. It's those blue spheres you see around the swordsman right now. So you have to focus on killing these crystals before you can actually kill the damage-dealing enemies. And I survived this encounter with 4 health. 4 frickin' health. That's how tough it is.
All is forgiven, Zagreus.
And here we go, we get a nice second boon. And you can see that my special attack, which I was relying on, you know, throw it out, bounce, do damage, and come back, it's not carrying me as far anymore. So I'm really starting to have a hard time. And here, this might be a little bit of a spoiler, but we'll call it a sneak peek for those of you who are still new to this game. This is Asterius. He is part of the final boss of this level. And he's such a cool fight and he's such a cool character that they actually added him as a mini-boss through this level as well. And he can either be really easy or he can be really hard. Here I realize, hey, I can't mess around, and I'm just hitting with my range attack, and realize I can't do that, just because it does so little damage. Like, it's chipping away his health, yeah, but not in a way that's going to make me survive this. So I'm trying to be a little bit more aggressive and whack him in the face as well. I'm really paying here for trading away Aphrodite's blessing on my base attack, because I've now got Zeus's blessing, which is stronger and it does more damage, and I die. It's stronger, it does more damage, but without that weak being applied, I suddenly go from having a 45% damage reduction between Athena and Aphrodite to just 10% from Athena, and I'm taking a lot more damage from it. And yeah, there we go. We're at about an hour. So in an hour, I defeated the first 2 bosses. I've got enough darkness here that I am able to max my basic abilities, except for Death Defiance, because it's really expensive. And now I have enough keys that I can walk over here and unlock my spear. So now we have access to Dark Thirst on all of our starting weapons. And just like that, boom, we're in a fantastic position to continue through the game. Okay, so that's the end of the stream, you guys. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I plan on having sort of these behind-the-scene looks at my filming process and how I practice my tips in the future for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it to be valuable, and I will see you in the next video. Now remember, there is no escape. Thanks for watching. See you later.